Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. Today, we are going to focus in on creating your vision of life and business. As we're still in the month of January, it's really important that we cast a vision out there that determines what our actions are going to be for the remainder of this year. Because so many times, a thing that we lack doing in our lives is creating a roadmap to create that blueprint that we need to follow for success. How many people do you know just haphazardly go through each day without a plan? They just wake up and go, all right, this is what I'm going to do, and that's it. Instead of focusing on a specific course of action that leads to a specific set of results. This is one of those principles of success that we have to implement in our lives if we want to have a dramatic difference. So there's several principles, several key things that we must implement in our lives to make this work. One of the first things is a shift of mindset, which is there's no such thing as a work-life balance. You're going to hear people say, oh, you have to create this work-life balance. It's all BS. Let me explain why. The whole concept of balance means that in order for things to be in equilibrium, you are giving up something. So let's think about it here in that traditional mindset. If someone wants to, say, make more, well, that means they're going to have to, if they're working a traditional 9 to 5, depending on what you're doing, is they're going to have to work more hours. Or they're working more hours and not making more. But because of this, their family time is decreasing. Now, the opposite is, well, they could be spending more time with their family. But then they're not making anything else. So there's this constant thing of trying to balance. Think of when you're a kid on the seesaw. You know, you're just going back and forth, and you just hope that when you're doing it, you didn't have someone that weighed a whole lot more than you on the other side, because otherwise you are never getting down to the ground. They just kind of set like, you're up in the air. Well, guess what? Your life can be just like that. So we have to shift our mindset that it's about creating abundance, where you have to think, what is it that you desire most? And in most cases, for most people, it's about having freedom, the freedom to choose what you want to do, to spend more time with your family, to spend more time giving to charity, to spend more time doing the things that you love. So how do you do this? It's quite simple. You have to design a strategy that will provide you with the income that will fuel your lifestyle. So let me repeat that. You have to design a strategy that will create an income to fuel your lifestyle. So what does that mean? In most cases, this means becoming an entrepreneur, because then you determine what you're worth instead of someone else determining it for you. Now, there's nothing against working for someone else, because there's so many great things in the world that wouldn't happen because of it. But if you want to have that true level of freedom where you're not limited by someone else's rules of how much vacation you can take and what you can do, the hours you want to work, in most cases, you're going to have to work for yourself. So you need to define, what is it you want to do? Whether it's spending more time traveling, you want to spend more time with family, what does that look like? And then once you determine it, figure out what resources do you need to make it happen in terms of, if you want to live in different places, okay, you might need a couple houses in a few places. Or you like to be able to have organic food all the time. Well, what type of income do you need to be able to pay for that type of stuff? That's what you need to determine, because that's going to let you know that if you want to have these things, then whatever you decide to do, it needs to generate whatever that amount is. And that amount is different for each and every one of us. Not one of us has the same exact things that we want to do and achieve. So we have to decide upon for ourselves, what do we want to make happen there? But this is what you must do. Forget about the work-life balance and focus in on creating abundance. Because when you focus on abundance, you can create that in any area of your life. Then guess what? That was just number one. The second thing is you have to create an ironclad will. You have to lock your future down. You have to have so much conviction that nothing can take you away from it. You're going to have people that come up to you with negativity. You're going to have people that want to cast doubt and say, oh, why don't you just do the safe thing, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? That gets you a certain future, just like them. If you want to create a future that's full of abundance, you are going to have to take risk. You're going to have to be willing to fail. And you heard me say that. You have to be willing to fail. Because if you look at anybody who is highly successful, you only typically pay attention to their successes. You don't really take the time to look at, well, how many times did they fail? Think about this for a moment, using a sports reference. Look at someone like, let's say, Michael Jordan, or any professional basketball player, or any sports player out there that has been at the top of their game. In terms of, you think about, let's use Michael Jordan here. While he might be one of the all-time leading scorers, he's also one of the all-time leading missers, because he took more shots, but he wasn't afraid to miss. That's the thing. If you're not willing to jump in the game, then you've already failed. So you have to be willing to jump in there and not let anybody deter you. Work at what you want to achieve day in and day out. You keep at it until you get there, because it's worth it. Because the average person gives up long before they get there. Or what it's even worse is when someone gives up only a mere inch or two from achieving their goal, which is often what happens, because sometimes it's making those small 1 millimeter shifts, and that's all we need to hit our goals. And the way that we ensure we make those consistent 1 millimeter shifts is we have to continually invest in ourselves. We have to learn from people that have already done what we want to do. Because we have two choices. We can either try to figure it out ourselves, or we can learn from somebody who's already done it. Now remember, if you think about creating abundance, part of it is being able to do it in the shortest time possible. If you knew that it was going to take you 10 years of hard trial and error to get there, would you do it? Sure. But if you can invest the money in something, in a program, in a coach, and you can be able to get to that same point in 6 months, it doesn't matter what the cost is. 10 years is way more expensive, because you see, you can always create more money. It doesn't matter where you are in life. You can always create more. But time is that one finite thing that each of us has. We can't say, you know what? I want to do Thursday over again. Oh no, once that time is gone, it's gone. We can't do it again. But if you dropped, let's say, $100 out of your wallet, well, okay, depending on how much is in there, it might kind of suck. But you know what? You can go back out there and make another $100. Think about how many times you lost something. You might have lost a bet, like, oh crap, that sucked. But guess what? You turned around, you created that money again. So with money, it's energy, it's things we can create over and over. Time, we can't. So we have to focus in on those things that we can be able to do. And that's why you must invest in yourself, because you see, when you invest in yourself, that's the one thing that you know, if you put in the work, it will guarantee a positive return in your efforts. Where other things, not necessarily, but you can always bet in yourself. You have to be willing to bet in what you're capable of, because you know what that comes down to. When you invest in yourself, you start changing the group of people that you're around. You start changing it because you want to be around people who are going to propel you forward. You're going to be around people that inspire you. You're going to be people that support you, people that motivate you. You're going to distance yourself from the people who are the naysayers, the negative Nancys and so forth. Because you see, those people, it's not a matter they don't love you. They are only in their world. So that's where they exist at a lower frequency. You have to ask yourself something simple. Do you want to be around the people that are going to pull you down, or are you going to be around the people who are going to help lift you up? I vote for being around the people who are going to lift you up. So you have to decide right now, who are those people that are dragging you down in your world, and start distancing yourself. Cut them out, because it might seem harsh, like, but we've been friends since high school. We always reminisce about this. Like, you know what? They're looking backwards. You're looking forwards. If you want to have certain things, you've got to look forward in your life. You've got to be able to do the things that are necessary to get there. And that critical aspect is changing your peer group, because when you change your peer group, it changes your perception of what's possible. Because when you see people doing it, it creates a power of belief, and you realize, you know what? If that person can do it, then so can I. Because you might be trying to do it on your own, and you're like, oh, this stinks. But suddenly, you start lifting it up. Think about that expression, that rising tides lift all ships. Everybody's a ship in that new peer group. In all your energy and your efforts, it's creating an increase in the tide, so everybody's lifting up. But what happens when you're that ship that's trying to lift up, but the people around you, they're torpedoes. They're blowing holes in you. What's going to happen if you have a couple holes in that ship? You're going to sink. You're going to be at the bottom of the ocean. You're looking up going, what happened? You don't want to be in that world. You don't want to be looking back and think, I wish I could have done something different. So I challenge you today, make a choice. Declare to the world that you are not going to focus on balance anymore. You're going to focus in on abundance. You're going to develop the ironclad will it needs to create the lifestyle that you want and be able to go full out at it, to invest consistently in yourself, and to develop the peer group that you need that's going to lift you up. So I want you to go out there and make this happen, because each and every one of you are worth it. Because the future is there for you. It's up to you to take it and create the experiences and the lifestyle that you want to have for yourself and your family. So go out there and make it an awesome day.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.